So if you were to bring the black share of wealth at least to the black share of the population, it would require an additional at least $10 trillion.
All right. So we are here. We're going to do a breakdown, actually a read through of the HR 3684, also known as the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. You can see on your screen right now, this is actually the first page on this document. Now, the document's over 1,000 pages. I think the PDF was like 1,039, something like that. But it's quite a long document. So what we're going to do is actually go to another section, which might be more relevant to our community, specifically the Black community. I know some of us don't like the word POC, people of color, because it's not very specific, but unfortunately, there's not any specificity with race or ethnicity in this documentation. So that's the closest thing I think we're going to get to. I don't know. Shall we start?
Yeah. So, do we know exactly how much money is in this infrastructure and jobs investment? Off the top of our heads here, was it like $1.2 trillion?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I have to like double check, but I think it was somewhere in that range,
Okay.
up in the
Well,
trillion.
let's get into it. Maybe this discovery will tell us something.
All right, so let's go up to the first slide, or technically second slide here, which is the Division K in the Minority Business Development section. And I don't know if we have time, which I really well. Before we actually start, let's just say to all the people who are listening or viewing this, is that it's in December, and we'll probably actually be taking hiatus for the community call in, but we'll be posting these as we go on. So if we actually can get through this section in December, then we might actually go back and start breaking down some of the other infrastructure sections as well, so we can get a better interpretation of what it looks like, word by word, line by line. But for now, we're going to start off with this section, which I believe, I could be incorrect, but I think this is one or the last section in the bill.
All right. So the Division K Minority Business Development Section 100001, short title. All right. The division may be cited as the Minority Business Development Act of 2021. In this division agency, the term agency means the Minority Business Development Agency of the Department of Commerce. Community based organization, the term community based organization has the meaning given the term in Section 8101 of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965. Eligible entity. Except as otherwise expressly provided, the term eligible entity means: 1, private sector entity; 2, a private sector entity; or 3, a native entity; and B, includes an institution of higher education.
Okay,
Federal,
can you just stop right there? Okay, just to clarify, I think you read, if I'm correct, a private sector entity. I think two was, you said a private sector entity. So
a
it's a
public
public. Yeah,
sector. Thank you for
just want to
catching that.
clarify that.
Okay, so a public sector entity on number 2 there. Thanks for the catch, Yamoya.
Of course.
Or number 3, a native entity. Shall I
Yeah.
continue?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And B, includes an institution of higher education. 4, federal agency. The term federal agency has the meaning given the term agency in Section 551 of Title 5 United States Code. Federally recognized area of economic distress. The term federally recognized area of economic distress means a hub zone, as that term is defined in Section 31B of the Small Business Act 15 USC 657 AB. B, an area that has been designated as an empowerment zone under Section 1391 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, or 2, a promise zone by the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, is in is a low or moderate income area as determined by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. C, a qualified opportunity zone, as that term is defined in Section 1400Z 1 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, or D, any political subdivision or unincorporated area of the state determined by the Undersecretary to be an area of economic distress. Institution of higher education. A term, institution of higher education, has the meaning given the term in Section 101 of the Higher Education Act of 1965. MBDA, 7, MBDA Business Center. The term MBDA Business Center means a business center that, and then we go on, is established by the agency and provides technical business assistance to minority business enterprise consistent with the requirements of this division. All right. Now, I thought you had some slides in there somewhere, Yamoya,
Yeah, I think we do. Let's see where they're at.
that describe some of the terms that we just went over.
Okay, so on this slide here, if anyone wants to go to mbda.gov, that's mbda.gov, it should give you a breakdown of what the Minority Business Development Agency in your area is, if you have one. And then if you have specific information about this, if you are a minority business owner, you can actually follow up with your local agency to get more information. But let's go read what this slide says. Minority owned firms seeking to penetrate new markets, domestic and global, and grow in size and scale can access business experts at a MBDA Business Center. Whether it's securing capital, competing for a contract, identifying a strategic partner, or becoming export ready, not expert ready, but export ready, your success is our priority. The centers are located in areas with the largest concentration of minority populations and the largest number of minority businesses. Locate an MBDA Business Center, specialty center, or project near you. You can search by MBDA program name, program type, and or state. So once again, if you are a business owner or would like to start a business, this may be one resource for you. And obviously, this is part of the infrastructure bill to actually, if I'm correct, and as we go through this, we can, flesh some of this stuff out a little bit more. That the infrastructure bill on the federal level will be going through these particular type of programs and centers.
Okay. So according to the slide, it looks like Alabama has an MBDA center. We'll have to look into California's MBDA.
Yep. All right. So let's see where we at. Were we at this? No, we were at this slide. Yep.
All right. So now that we know what the MBDA is, so that's number 8, MBDA, Business Center Agreement. The term MBDA, Business Center Agreement, means a legal instrument. A, reflecting a relationship between the agency and the recipient of a federal assistance award that is the subject of instrument, and B, that establishes the terms by which the recipient described in subparagraph A shall operate an MBDA business center. 9. Minority business enterprise. A. In general, the term minority business enterprise means a business enterprise, one, that is not less than 51% owned by one or more socially or economically disadvantaged individuals, and 2, the management and daily business operations of which are controlled by one or more socially or economically disadvantaged individuals. B. Rule of construction. Nothing in subparagraph A may be construed to exclude a business enterprise from qualifying as a minority business enterprise under that subparagraph because of 1, the status of the business enterprise as a for-profit or nonprofit enterprise, or 2, the annual revenue of the business enterprise. 10. Native entity. The term native entity means A, a tribal government, B, an Alaska Native village or regional or village corporation as defined in or established pursuant to the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act 43 USC 1601. C, a Native Hawaiian organization as the term is defined in Section 6207 of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965. D, the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, and E, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. 11, private sector entity. The term private sector entity means an entity that is not public sector entity, and B, does not, 1, include 1, the federal government, 2, any federal agency, or 3, any instrumentality of federal government. 12, public sector entity. The term public sector entity means A, a state, B, an agency of the state, C, a political subdivision of the state, D, an agency of a political subdivision of a state, or E, a native entity.
All right. You want to take a break? You want me to read maybe the next 2 slides and then?
Yeah, you can go ahead and take it from here. Did you want to unpack any of that I just read? Were you pretty much familiar with all of these terms that are included in this slide?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just very interesting how there or the not there, but the bill was specific, especially with the native entity.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be very interested to see if, in particular for the Black community, if however we're calling ourselves, from freedmen to FBA, ADOS, however, people who descend from U.S. chattel slavery, could actually, in the future, get more specificity in a bill like this, where you see the native populations actually have a specific term for this bill.
Yes, very, very interesting indeed. So, um,
I
yeah,
mean,
well,
at least as far as just this section is concerned, I think once we read further, I think it actually defines, I could be wrong, defines who is considered a minority,
oh,
but I think I could be wrong. I might have read it somewhere else. Hopefully it does, but uh, in particular with this section, it was just interesting how, the Native American population, and looks like Alaska Native and Native Hawaiian were actually had specificity. So, I mean, that's just something that I wanted to point out.
well, thank you for pointing that out. And yeah, maybe we'll learn more as we move forward with this. So if you'll take it away.
Is there anything else you want to point out, or?
Let's see here. The status of a business enterprise as for profit or nonprofit. So it looks like whether you're for profit or nonprofit, you should be able to benefit. Is the way that I'm reading it. So let's hope that's true, because I know that there are a lot of nonprofit, but there are a lot of for-profit businesses in need of funding and support as well.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so on 13, it says secretary. The term secretary means the Secretary of Commerce. 14, socially or economically disadvantaged business concern. The term socially or economically disadvantaged business concern means a for profit business enterprise. A, that is not less than 51% owned by one or more socially or economically disadvantaged individuals, or two, that is socially or economically disadvantaged, or B, the management and daily business operations of which are controlled by one or more socially or economically disadvantaged individuals. 15, socially or economically disadvantaged individual. A, in general, the term socially or economically socially disadvantaged individual means an individual who has been subjected to racial or ethnic prejudice or cultural bias, or the ability of whom to compete in the free enterprise system has been impaired due to diminished capital and credit opportunities as compared to others in the same line of business and competitive market area, because of the identity of the individual as a member of a group without regard to any individual quality of the individual that is unrelated to that identity. B, presumption. In carrying out this division, the under secretary shall presume that the term socially or economically disadvantaged individual includes any individual who is, okay, so remember that section I was telling you about, Black or African American, Hispanic or Latino, American Indian or Alaska Native, Asian, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander, or a member of the group that the agency determines under Part 1400 of Title 15 Code of Federal Regulations as in effect on November 23rd, 1984, is a socially disadvantaged group eligible to receive assistance. 16, specialty center. The term specialty center means an MBDA business center that provides specialty services focusing on specific business needs, including assistance relating to capital access, federal procurement, entrepreneurship, technology transfer, or any other area determined necessary or appropriate based on the priorities of the agency. State. The term state means each of the states of the United States, the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, the United States Virgin Islands, Guam, American Samoa, the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, and each tribal government. 18, tribal government. The term tribal government means the recognized governing body of any Indian or Alaska Native tribe, band, nation, pueblo, village, community, component band, or component reservation, individually identified, including parenthetically in the list published most recently as of the date of enactment of the division pursuant to Section 104 of the Federally Recognized Indian Tribe List Act of 1994. Undersecretary, the term undersecretary means the Undersecretary of Commerce for Minority Business Development, who is appointed as described in Section 3B to administer this division. Section 100003, I believe that was right, a lot of zeros in there. Minority Business Development Agency. A, in general, there is within the Department of Commerce the Minority Business Development Agency. B, Undersecretary. 1, appointment and duties. The agency shall be headed by the Undersecretary of Commerce for Minority Business Development, who shall be appointed by the President by and with advice and consent of the Senate, except as otherwise expressly provided, be responsible for the administration of the division and report directly to the Secretary. 2, compensation. In general, the Undersecretary shall be compensated at an annual rate of basic pay prescribed for Level 3 of the Executive Schedule under Section 5314 of Title 5 United States Code. Technical and conforming amendment, Section 5314 of the Title 5 United States Code is amended by striking and Undersecretary of Commerce for Travel and Tourism and inserting Undersecretary of Commerce for Travel and Tourism and Undersecretary of Commerce for Minority Business Development. References. Any reference in a law, map, regulation, document, paper, or other record of the United States to the directory, to the director of the agency shall be deemed to be a reference to the Undersecretary. Report to Congress. No later than 120 days after the date of enactment of this act, the Secretary shall submit to Congress a report that describes 1, the organizational structure of the agency, 2, the organizational position of the agency within the Department of Commerce, and 3, a description of how the agency shall function in relation to the operations carried out by each other component of the Department of Commerce. Office of Business Centers. Establishment. There is established within the agency the Office of Business Centers, a director. The Office of Business Centers shall be administered by a director who shall be appointed by the Undersecretary. So, yep. You're on mute.
Okay, so that described who the minorities are that will be considered for this funding. So we were included in that batch, which is something.
Yeah, it's interesting. Hopefully we could take a look into it if we have time. But it's interesting. It looks like there's going to be an undersecretary that's going to be assigned to this business development agency. So be interested who's going to be assigned to that role.
And it also looks like they're going to be collecting their information from the what were they called? The
MBDA, was it?
Yeah. So we definitely need to get acquainted with our local agency here. And, since they're accepting, nonprofits and for-profits, it's just important, family, that you have all your business documentation in order so that you are able to receive these funds once they become available.
All right. So we basically, did you want to stop here or did you want to go maybe 2 more slides and then wrap it up and then continue on for another breakdown, or what do you want to do?
It's up to you, but I know you've got to get on to the next thing, so we can probably wrap this up here, but no fears, family. We will be continuing this series of infrastructure breakdown throughout December. So just keep checking back for the most updated breakdown.
Yep. Yeah, hopefully maybe we could, try to schedule these throughout December if we can, but if not, Hey, it's December. I'm sure everybody's doing a holiday thing anyway, but we do appreciate for those who have listened to this. And if you have any ideas, comments about this, hit us up at etmmediagroup@gmail.com or leave a notice or comment in the section to give us some ideas. Maybe you own a business, maybe you have some ideas about this so people can get involved with this. Think there's a saying, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So we're trying to give you this information. And this is for us too, for, in the Mass Media Group as well. But if you are a business, you might be able to take advantage of this. So if you get prepared for this infrastructure bill that is going to be rolled out, then set yourself up, get acquainted with the MBDA process and to see if that's something that you might be able to take advantage of. So I know sometimes, we're like, the system. Well, that may be true, but if you're not preparing yourself, then that's on you. Don't even know what to say. So I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about right now so we can wrap it up?
Well, just of course, update on the next California Reparations Task Force meeting. This will be the 5th meeting of the California Reparations Task Force, and it's happening next week on December 7th and December 8th. So that's a Tuesday and Wednesday. I hope you'll be tuning in. ETM Media will be streaming those meetings live, of course. Make it easy for the fam to find the information, and it's also a space where voices can be heard. We'd love to hear what you have to say. The California Reparations Task Force is actively taking proposals, so if you have any proposals that you think would be good for a California reparations package, please send them over to us. We can get them over to the task force, or you can send them to the task force directly. They have a website available. I don't know if you have that website available, Moria, that you could pop in the chat for the family. And don't know if you wanted to give some updates on the upcoming LA listening session that's going to be happening.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the flyer with me. Let me see if I can get it. Let me see if I could just share my screen real quick.
You could do that. Well, I'm looking up the task force meeting website, so the fam can head over there and just take a look at what's been going on the prior task force meetings. There's information and agendas, and all of this public comment and testimony is transparent and open to the public, so you can go through all that documentation too. And we just really urge you to get involved. So I'll just go ahead and pop that information in the chat. In the event that it doesn't show up in the chat, I'm also going to pop it on the screen here.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, I think I did find it. So let me see if I can. Let's see, share my.
So on your screen now, you can just go ahead and take a screenshot, and that is the information for the website for the California Reparations Task Force.
All right. And I am, let's see, where am I at here? Okay, so I'm going to share this screen. Let's see. All right.
There we go.
All right, there you go. Okay. So here is the event that is happening on December 11th. It's going to be in Los Angeles. So if you are in LA, there is a reservation. So it is limited. So definitely reserve your spot right now because it is quickly filling up family. It's filling up real quick. So actually, we might. I don't know, Kim. We might actually post this a little earlier. I don't know. We might even post this evening, so you guys can get the information sooner than later. Because I think, when is December 7th? Is that this Tuesday? Yeah,
Yes,
that's
December 7th is
yeah.
Tuesday.
Okay, so we would even have a community call in on the 7th usually, but as we said before, we're going to have a hiatus on the 7th. So we might actually post this earlier to get you guys this information out sooner than later, or we might even do a PSA as well if we have time. But this event is in Los Angeles at the True Vine Baptist Church at 12 to 2 on Saturday, December 11th. And it looks like this is sponsored by the Freedmen's Bureau of California. And it's going to be put on by NAASDLA.org, CJECofficial.org, and etmmediagroup.com. You can sign up and get your free event, your reservation at Eventbrite. That's bit.ly/3E8XJ7B.
Great.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
So
I'm
come
sorry.
on out.
One more thing. Just got to say, mask and social distancing is
Oh,
required.
yeah, we can't forget that. We can't forget that. And space is so limited because of COVID restrictions. So,
Yeah, you better. I'm telling you, it's filling up really fast. So if you're hearing this and you're in Los Angeles, definitely get your ticket like now, because uh you may not be able to, but reserve your spot anyway. Definitely reserve your spot. And shout out to Camila Moore, who is the California Reparations Task Force chair, is actually going to be a special guest, and we're going to be able to ask her some questions, a Q&A.
yay. Yeah, so come on out and meet the players involved in this reparations movement, get involved or just learn more. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So I guess that will do it for our presentation this evening on the infrastructure investment bill and how to get this money.
Yep. See you later.